Uh, so I have some good news to bring up on the show. I've been kind of struggling to figure out what my next game was going to be,
Hmm.
and through a little help of the listeners, we settled on God of War for the PlayStation
Oh,
4.
Godspeed to you, sir.
Yeah, so I fired it up for the first time yesterday, and I haven't put too much time into it. I've been juggling a few things, but so far I'm enjoying it. It's not what I expected, but it's also everything I expected at the same time. Does that make sense?
You might have to define that, my friend.
So there are times when I'm getting into the thick of a battle where like I feel like I'm just aimlessly hammering the attack buttons.
Okay.
And I realize that I don't have a lot of moves yet. My character, uh, is kind of limited to what he's able to do.
Hmm.
But I felt like, especially when I was kind of surrounded by a bunch of lower tier enemies, that I was just kind of hitting like light attack, light attack, light attack, heavy. It's turning around, hitting the next one, light, 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 heavy. Moving to
Okay.
the next one, light, 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 heavy. And it just kind of made me feel like a lot of other types of games in that genre, like Devil May Cry, or I'm trying to think of other like hack and slash games. Um,
Oh man, there's plenty.
there's so many, and it's not a genre that I really spend a lot of time with because it just has never really hooked me in the way that other genres do. So I I didn't want to dismiss it immediately because it's such a beloved game, and you can't really judge a game by like an hour or two of gameplay, right? That's just not necessarily fair, I don't think.
Agreed.
Um, so I've been sticking with it, and I've gotten pretty far. I don't know. I really don't know what I can discuss on the air without like revealing spoilers, but I guess I don't know how can we do this. I've had a couple boss battles, so I'm probably like maybe somewhere between 5 and 8 hours into the game at this point. I'm gonna hand this off to you. What ask
Sure,
ask
of
me
course.
questions?
Yes, I've got you, man.
All right.
So here's the thing. Your initial assessment is 100% accurate.
Mm,
What you're experiencing is what I experienced. It's probably what most people experienced. It is a little bit button mashy at first because I agree with Banks G35 here. It takes time. In the beginning, you just have your axe. You have very limited moves. But it's true. As you progress through the game, you unlock way more moves. And you can do more things with the axe besides just, button mash and recall it. And you eventually get, you know, some other weapons as well, which I don't
mm,
really want to talk about. But yeah, I think that you're just too early on, and I think your assessment is accurate, and I think that you know that already, that you
mm,
said yourself that you're too early in to really make a fair judgment on what the rest of this game is going to look like.
mm-hmm.
So I would say, or I would encourage you to keep going.
Okay.
Play for, I would say, like about a good solid like 5 hours, and then things are going to really start shaping up.
So I think I'm probably past that point already.
Wow. Okay.
I've already upgraded my axe once. I've already um, started branching out with like experience, and I've started kind of building. Is it Atreus? Does he say it that way? Yeah,
Yes.
so he's been getting some health as well, or some XP boost, I should say. Been putting some of my XP into him. I just encountered. I don't know if I should say this on the air. Like that's the part I'm like dancing around whether or not it's a spoiler because I don't know if it's a spoiler.
Okay.
Uh,
I mean, to kind of interject there, I could also build onto my original point and
okay.
say that eventually you're going to get like a combat flow that's going to feel really nice and way
Okay.
more intricate than it does now.
Okay.
And that's going to feel really, really satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get good at what you're doing. And technically, you could probably play the whole game with just using the axe and just using very limited moves.
Hmm.
But you're going to want to use the other stuff. And some of the other stuff you almost have to use with certain enemies.
Okay.
And that's going to really expand the sort of variety of combat. So
Okay.
I hope that that encourages you to kind of keep going.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sticking with it. I actually got to a section where I'm on a boat, and that I wasn't really crazy about because I actually started getting motion sick, which is really bizarre. You're using this boat through these caverns, and eventually you go out to the open water, and there's a thing that happens, and it leads to the next thing. And I hate being vague, but I stopped just before I got off the boat. Is
Okay.
where I'm at right now. So hopefully that gives you some context, and hopefully it gives the listener some context if they're familiar with the game.
I think so. And
Yeah.
I think the boat is a little floaty, no
Mm.
pun intended. Like it's not exactly, doesn't feel that rigid. Like when
Mm.
you're in it, you feel like the controls are kind of loose.
Well,
I'm sure you could probably understand what I'm saying there.
yeah, I get the impression that they're trying to illustrate that Kratos has this massive, immense strength, so that with each swipe of the oar, he's like rocketing through the water like it's like
Mm-hmm.
next to nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of the vibe that I think they're trying to go for, but the movement just feels so unnatural to me. And because I'm turning so quickly, I'm finding that it's just hard for me to kind of focus in on a section, and it does really give me like a headache. I was just kind of getting queasy with it, and it was uncomfortable. So,
Mm.
and I'm not playing on a particularly large TV either. I'm using a 46-inch 1080p TV. There's no
Okay.
HDR. It's not on my 4K or anything. I'm on a base PlayStation. So I would think that the graphics would probably be less prone to giving me that effect, but
Hmm.
I guess I'm wrong. I'm not really sure.
Well, speak about visuals. What are your thoughts on the graphics so far?
I mean, so far the game is pretty stunning. I wish that the PlayStation was in the other room because this television doesn't take advantage of the HDR on the PlayStation, and I know I'm missing out. Even though the PS4, the base model, isn't a 4K device, it does take advantage of HDR on HDR TVs, and in a game like Horizon Zero Dawn, that made a huge difference into quality